Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of Travel with the Stars. We are back from Walt Disney World. Well, some of y'all live there, so whatever. I'm back.
You're back.
And I am joined today by two people who I'm not jealous of at all because they both live within 20 minutes of Walt Disney World, whatever. 4 minutes. What the heck? Oh, I'm joined by Jessica and Heather. Hey, gals.
Hey, Jen. Hey, Heather.
And we, of course, we spent all last weekend together, and it was amazing. It was like
an amazing race. Amazing.
It was just like that.
Indeed, it was.
I know.
So if you were following our social media last week, we actually did the amazing race through, well, our version, through the theme parks, but not until after we ran the Disney 5K or the 10K because some of us are crazy.
Stupid.
Ambitious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There we go. But anyway, so let's talk about it because this is your first Run Disney experience for both of you.
Mm-hmm.
Jess, you were supposed to go last year and then you got strep throat.
I did that week. And by the time the race rolled around, I wasn't contagious anymore, but I still felt like crap. So yeah. I listened to my body and I sat that one out. But I was so disappointed because I would have been there with you guys. And that's been my first in-person experience. In 2022, I did do a virtual 5K with Run Disney.
Oh, okay.
The theme that summer was Frozen the musical. And that's musical theater is my background. So as soon as that theme was announced, I was like on it. So I have that medal here. It's really cute. It's Elsa.
Oh, that's so cute.
It snows.
Oh,
I know.
That's so cool.
Super cute. So I did it virtual. So I ran around my neighborhood this summer.
Hi guys. Hi again.
But this was my first in-person race last week, and it was amazing.
Oh, I love it. Oh my gosh. Okay. And Heather, first at all.
So I did sign up last year too, and I was supposed to go, but then they told us, what was it, like 30 days before my house was done? They were like, you have to be down here and close in 30 days. And I was like, okay. So I'm not going to the race because I'm moving. So I missed it and I was mad because it was Jasmine last year.
Oh, it was Jasmine last year.
I love it. I think that, and Jess has a great story about in the middle of the race. I think that the 5K is something like for anybody at any age, at any athletic ability, pace, anything. I had so much fun during that race that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this a million times over. Now, when we talk about the 10K, my opinion changes on it, but that's besides the point. No, I think I loved it. I thought it was great. I love the vibe. I love all the people's costumes. It was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah, I felt wildly underdressed.
Well, isn't that and you had a super themed outfit, Jessica. You were so
in
cute.
A dress.
I had a dress. A skater dress. I ordered it off Etsy. This woman was wonderful. I ordered the pink Cinderella dress because Cinderella is my favorite. And I felt underdressed, people. People went crazy with their costumes. I'm already thinking next year, oh my gosh, I got to step it up.
Yeah, they have full out. I mean, people will run in full out gowns. Yeah. I've seen people in Prince Charming outfits with a glass slipper.
There was someone holding they had Sebastian on a platter because the theme was Ariel. Yeah, and then they were dressed up as the chef with Sebastian on a platter. I saw some girl, she was at the front when I was waiting for you all to come in. She was dressed up as Tamatoa, and she was in full purple, and then she had put these shells on a backpack and spray painted it gold. And it was a giant shell on the back of her. And I was like, how are you running with that? And I was like, oh my gosh. But everybody was dressed up. Meanwhile, me and Kylie were We're having matching t-shirts and matching pants and matching shoes. Like, we're good. We're Then I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this was a Halloween party. I mean, because wait, let me get into this. I'm not
But
like Mrs. Potts next year.
And like families are straight up themed as everything. Like they will have all of the characters from whatever IP.
Oh, my favorite was because it was the princess run. The amount of straight up bros in like princess outfits was like to die for. There was at the end of the race, there were like 3 of them standing around like a high table, like drinking, and I walked over to them and they were all, I mean, head to toe, like just gorgeous
seashell bras.
I
Loved
walked
it.
over to them and I said, "Gentlemen, no notes. You look fabulous."
Fabulous.
Like,
They looked fabulous.
they were fab.
I loved it. I loved it.
In gowns. It was
Like, I mean, right. It was just, it is amazing.
It is. It's just a great time. Like, and it costs what? It's like $107, right? Is that how much it is? It's like $107.
$117, something like that.
Okay. So it's whatever. Say it's $117, right? You're getting to run in Disney, right? Backstage. So you get to see like all the fun stuff backstage. You get a race t-shirt, which are you wearing the
she's wearing that one.
Okay. And so I have the Rapunzel one on. I don't know if you can see. Okay. But these t-shirts are not like t-shirts that you get at like a store. They're like running shirts.
They're the dry fit.
Like they're the dry fit running shirts. Okay. So you figure you're getting like a $30 t-shirt, like a running t-shirt. And then you get this medal that's like a piece of artwork. And I'm like, this is like totally worth the money.
Look at it. Show them the back.
And then
it's the only one that had 2 sides.
It had a 2-sider.
Yeah, but I really liked Heather's 10K medal.
Oh my gosh, the 10K medal.
It's upstairs, but there's construction people in here.
Her
and mine, the sun, it's like Rapunzel, and the sun like spins on it, which is why I signed up for the 10K. So if we get to the 10K, here's why I did it. Okay. I was like, I'm not the biggest fan of Ariel. And I was still a little bit upset that I didn't get the Jasmine medal last year because she's like my favorite princess. And I was like, I need to run for a good medal. And that Rapunzel medal was like
good,
gorgeous. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do a 10K. And then at about mile 4, I was like, why am I doing this? Like, why am I doing this? But then in mile 4, I also knew, I'm going to finish this because like you're in the park in mile 4. The 10K is not for everybody. Now we did train for it, and I was going to run with my friend Irene, but then we got assigned to different corrals. So she left an hour and a half before our corral even left. So it was like me. Point. Yeah, it was like me, and I made a joke on social media, me and 10,000 of my closest friends, because I was going to make friends there. But there are not, correct me if I'm wrong, there are not balloon ladies at the 5K, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And your 5K is not timed. Your 10K is timed. There are balloon ladies. They were sweeping people, which then I found out afterwards that if they sweep you, then I was watching all these people like walk in the side entrance when we were coming to the finish line. And I was like, where are these people coming from? And they were coming from the bus because they got swept, and they still let you cross the finish line, which again, Disney magic. You couldn't run it, but they still let them cross the finish line. And it just is like a DNF, like did not finish. They still get the medal. They still get the t-shirt, like whatever. It's great. But I mean, it's timed. And then you do get a certificate because you finished it, which is great. But it's, I think because I trained here in Florida, it's all flat. And even though there's like, I live in the hilly part of Florida, I live in the country. Me and Jess joke about this all the time. I was not prepared for the off ramps. The off ramps were literally the death of me because it's like this.
I'd be concerned.
I was, and I mean, there were some people that like tripped, and I was like, "Oh no, we're gonna have to do." And then they make you run on the boardwalk, and the boardwalk's a little slippy. And I was like, "Oh, okay." But yeah, I had a bucket list of things I wanted to do before I was 45, and a 10K was one of them. So it's one and done.
Nice.
Now, Jessica, would you ever do a 10K? Or are you like 5K? You're a 5K girl.
I'm a 5K. Well, first, I have physical limitations anyway, like with cardio. So I'm good with my 5K. I was more than happy to walk around Epcot. It was like me and you, Jen, and Kristen and Val. We would like turn the corner in Canada, and I looked at you, I was like, guys, we are walking in Epcot at sunrise. Can we just like soak this in?
Mm-hmm.
Like that is
Mm-hmm.
such a cool moment. I mean, the sun was literally coming up over Space Shuttle,
Beautiful.
and it was gorgeous.
It was
a moment.
It really was.
Yes.
And I loved being able to be there for your guys' first time, because it was not my first Run Disney race, but it was y'all's, and it was so magical being like in the corrals and just like the energy that you feel, as much as training sucks. Like once you're in the corrals,
And how
it's like,
many people are so close to you in those corrals? I was having a semi-panic attack about that. I was like,
There's a
there's
lot of
way
people.
too many people. Jen's like, you're fine. You're fine. And then before we went, they put the line in front of us.
literally in front of us.
There's literally a story behind it, because I knew I had to ride in the 10K the next day. And I was like, you have to run it, right? Because it's time.
You can't walk that.
You cannot walk it. And we knew that Jess had limitations, and Kylie, this was my daughter. It was on her bucket list. She's a limb differential child. And we knew that if she wasn't going to make it, I was going to like put her on my back, because she was going to have to finish it. And we knew
guys
that
were gonna help.
we knew that she had physical limitations. So we were like, okay, we're going to like wing this as much as we can. We can speed walk, we can walk it, we can semi-run it. Well, then when they put the line in front of us, Brady looks at me and he goes, Heather, we have to run. And I was like, oh, okay. Like,
he's like, we're at the front of the corral. Like, we have to run
because all those people were behind us. And then like, you're on like camera or whatever. And so they drop the line and we start running, and Jess says something hilarious. And then I just hear David behind me yelling, why are we running? Oh my gosh, why are we running? Heather, why are we running? And I was like, Brady said we're running. So then me and Kyla's husband like hit a quarter mile, and we were like, where is everybody? And I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're done. So then we like stopped and like walked till everybody caught up. And then Jess comes up alongside of me, and she's on her phone. And I was like, what are you doing? And she was like, I'm doing dining for a client. I was like, what? She's like, I'm booking dining for a client. And I was like, oh my gosh, hold on. And then we recorded it. And I was like, this is the difference between a star agent and any other agent out there. She's doing dining during a 5K.
For
and it's like the cute
people.
15 people.
15 people at California Grill.
Boom.
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 Not, you know, like a run of the mill, like, oh, if they get it, great. If they don't, whatever. Like California Grill. These people are getting their firework dinner. Okay. What's happening?
I was like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is what separates us from everybody else. Right. She's just doing dining during a 5K.
Like it's like walking wrong like a millennial on my phone, like do. Get off your phone. What are you doing? I'm like,
millennial.
I am working. Like I'm logging into 3 different accounts, like as I'm walking, trying not to trip and die, by the way. Like that, and there were all ththose speed bumps, and they were like, runners, please watch out. And I'm like, oh my
gosh.
Like, sorry, hold on, I have to confirm.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. And I will say, even in comparison to the 5K and the 10K, so with people with disabilities, because Kylie does have a disability, at the 10K, they let them go. I want to say it was Corral B, but I honestly can't remember. And they have little yellow bibs on their back that say like disability, like, so like give them like room and like just be courteous to like let them know like they are going to move slower, which I thought was like amazing. I didn't see that in the 5K, but I love that they did it in the 10K, and they even announced it like, hey, and here's our runners with disabilities. Like, please make sure you get them room when they fired off. And they were like at the end of that corral, and they all had yellow ones like on their back. They had the regular ones on the front. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is amazing. But I can honestly say that like it was so much fun. Like just the energy, everything. Like I will do it every year. Year. It was so much fun.
It's such a ball.
And what's so funny, Heather, is you and I were the first people to get there. And I walked, it was like 4:00 in the morning. I looked at you and I said, what is wrong with
doing?
What are we doing? Like, we were like, we were
like so mad at ourselves. I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever done, because I'm a night owl, so I'm not a morning person. I was like, this is ridiculous. And it was so cold. It was so cold.
So cold. And, you know, I'm a Floridian born and raised. Heather, we've like claimed her now. So we're all like, poor Kylie shaking. And then by the end of it, we were like, so next year?
Yeah. We're like, oh, we're down. We're all down.
3 hours later, we're like, oh, can we sign up now? Like,
yes.
Like, we're ready.
Yeah.
We were all like, oh, it's one and done. We're never doing it again because.
Never again.
But then after it was done, it was like, oh my gosh, this was so much fun. And like
Yeah.
all the people that are cheering you on, like around the course that they have, like where your family members can be.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was great. At the 10K there was someone that was holding a sign and it says like, whoever you are, like you can do this. I have faith in you. And it's like, it's just a random stranger that's like kind of cheering someone on to be like, you're doubting yourself right now because you're on like mile 5. Like you can do this. And I was like,
Yeah.
I just love this whole thing. And when we were running through the boardwalk at the 10K, everybody was out on their balconies and they were all like clapping and cheering it on.
Oh, I love that.
Still not doing a 10K again though, guys. No.
I tell you what, and the energy is the same, like, because I've done half marathons and they really do have things to get you going. They have the water stations. They have like, for the longer races, they have like the goo stations for like the little sugary energy, whatever bites. And they have either characters and character meets along the way, random marching bands. There was like a choir. There
was like a all-female rock band.
Yeah.
Because I Wish Your Heart Makes. When are you ever gonna see that again?
Right.
It was awesome.
The answer, Jess, is next year when we're at the race.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Next year.
But it's such a good time and everybody is so supportive of each other. There's no one who's like trash talking. It's not like that. It's just a very much like, let's all go.
I know.
It's really great.
And I was telling Jen, I think Jess, you were there too, about a magical moment. The 10K, there was this older woman when we were coming up off the ramp. Her back was going out. And if anybody is like stopped like anywhere, 5K, 10K, whatever, everybody is constantly saying like, are you okay? Do you need anything? Do you need me to run ahead and get a medic? Like everybody is like supportive and they want to make sure that like you're okay on the track. So this woman, her back was going out and her husband was standing there with her and she was like, I can't move. We were like, do you want us to get you a medic? There were these 2 runners that were behind me at some point, but I had seen them like when I passed them and they were dressed like little old ladies and it said retired princesses on the back. They had like, they were in hospital gowns, they had wigs on and they had canes. And they came up to this woman, like when everybody was asking her, like, are you okay? Do you want us to go ahead and get the medic? She's like, no, my back's just going out. Whoever those women were, and I hope that they see this, they came up in their little costumes and they were like, here, do you want this cane? And she was like, no, I'll be fine. And she was like, take the cane will help you. And that woman was like, oh my gosh, this is helping so much. And that lady started walking with the cane. I'm getting goosebumps. And it was just like, oh my gosh, this is what our world like this is what people have the capability to be kind to each other. And like, this is something that everybody's trying to just make it to the finish line and they're just helping each other get there. And I was like, that was a magical moment.
The Disney.
It is.
Boom.
And
Disney difference.
It is. They're just, it's amazing. And those balloon ladies, while I didn't see them, everybody has said like they're so nice. So if you do decide to do a timed one where you're running and you see them, like they apparently cheer you on and tell you like you can make it, like you're whatever. But as you get to each point, they will tell you how many minutes and seconds you are above pace so that you know if you have time to do a character meet and greet, if you have time to stop to go to the bathroom, or if you need to run ahead because you're like kind of getting close to their pace. And everybody has to maintain a 16-minute mile. And that's across the board for all time races.
Across the board. But your time starts. So that's the thing is if you're in like Corral B and like for the longer races, you might have Corral F, you might have G. I know one time I was in J for the half marathon, right? Because just longer corrals. It is the balloon ladies are in the back of the very last corral. So it's a 16-minute mile from when they start.
Correct.
So if you're like starting up ahead, that's why you might have more time for a character meet because or Brady, when he did the full marathon, he's like, never again. He literally did it to say he could do it. But he has amazing pictures of him with the grave diggers. He's got he's like laying on a grave and like the grave digger sitting there with shovels. It's the best. He rode Expedition Everest during
that is what has a lot to do with it. Like, so we were in the last corrals for both races. We were in what? We were in D.
We were in D. And that's a good point. You dropped down.
I dropped out. Me and Kylie were in C, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Are you sure you don't need the extra time?" And she's like, "No, I want to go with everybody." And I was like, "Okay, well, here we go." So we were in D, and then I was assigned to E because it was my first race, so I had no time on thing. And my friend Irene, who started in C, an hour and a half ahead of me, she only finished 5 minutes before me in the race. We pulled our times
really?
whenever we got our certificate. She only finished 5 minutes before me because she had enough time to like stop and do all the characters and all the interactions. And I'm like, I'm running for my life here because I am not getting swept.
That is one thing that I would do next year is do a one character stop. Because
Mm-hmm.
we did, but in all fairness, we were not only in the last corral, us Upon a Star agents, we were in the last group. In the
last wave.
The last
Yes.
people to do this. And we were like, nope, we gotta keep going. And
we gotta keep going.
Super long by the time we got there because we were
the
last people.
So
correct.
Yeah, I would say that like if you do have like a higher corral, like you're golden with any of those races.
And not just like everyday characters, they were rare characters, or they were the normal characters in rare costumes. Like that's also the difference. So like that's just another advantage of doing these. It's like, no, it's not just like, love him, but it's not just like Mickey Mouse in his normal Mickey costume. The picture you wouldn't really get by just your
I have so many of those from various races. Like I have the evil queen as the old hag. Like
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's like incredible. Some of things like the entire entourage of Peter Pan, like Peter Pan, the Lost Boys, Wendy. It's like what on the rainbow float. It's
rainbow float. That's my favorite.
No, it was like it's such a great float. It was backstage in Epcot, and it's so cool getting to do those things. So obviously we highly recommend it. But let's talk quickly about the Race Expo, because one thing people don't think about is that aspect, because yes, it's not just like you show up and run the race. You have to go be there ahead of time. So the first race for this particular weekend starts on Friday. So on Thursday, you have to show up at the Race Expo, get your bib, get your race shirt, and we all went at different times of day. So I'm a late. I go late. There's not usually lines, but talk about your experience.
Yeah, I went after I picked my kid up from school. So I think I was there between like 4:30 and 5, and we walked right in to get my bib. There was no line. I had been like throughout the day, I was joining the virtual queue for the merch just because I didn't know like if my husband was able to come home early that day or not. So I was like, I'm gonna get my spot just in case, because I was like, I have to have something else besides the t-shirt I had already paid for. But I ended up going when you didn't need to be in the virtual queue anymore. So the virtual queue closed at 4. So past that, you could just walk right in.
Which is great.
Yeah, I mean, going later in the day was definitely not as stressful because I was following a couple on Instagram, like people who this is like all they do at Disney is they just run. And so like it seemed very stressful to me going first thing in the morning. So I was grateful I went towards the end of the day, but because I went towards the end of the day, some of the merch that I wanted was gone. So that's the other side of that coin.
Yeah, that's fair. If there's nothing you're like, oh my gosh, I have to have this. That's how I roll.
Years, and there were thousands of them still there. So I was like, it was nothing I like, need, but the little mini medals were really cute.
So cute.
Those were like flying off the shelves. Like, and I was like, I did not know that those were a thing.
Yeah, they were really
And Irene got in there. So I, like a psycho, I was there. I got in the virtual queue right at 8:30 as soon as it opened, and I was group 20 to get into the queue. So we were the first set of people to be called in there. And she was 16, so she got to go in like maybe 5 minutes before me. And she grabbed the medals for both of them. And I was like, oh my gosh, this place is nuts. But the thing is, when you go into like Wide World of Sports, and of all my years of going to Disney, I have never been there. I've lived here and I have never been there. There's never been a reason for me to go down there. So I was like,
Yeah.
Okay, this is new for me. But when you go in there, they've got like all like the princess things everywhere. They have like those giant posters that you can take pictures in front of. And then when you're going into the expo, they even have like posters as you're walking. So it's like great for social media coverage and everything. But then they like walk you into this other room and you're just in like this giant room, like waiting in line until it's like your turn. And I was like, oh my gosh, when we get in there, there's going to be nothing in there. Luckily there was, but I think you guys said that like by the end of the day, like there's not sizes of everything. When I was there, like you got everything from like extra small to like however high they could go up to. I didn't really plan on buying anything at all other than like maybe a Rapunzel t-shirt. And by the time I walked out of there, which they do, if you have an AP discount or if you're a DVC member, they do accept them. They have mobile checkout.
Yep.
It was like $250 later. And I was like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? So I got the jacket, and then we made a joke because I got the finisher t-shirt for the 10K. And my friend Irene was like, well, now you have to finish the race because you bought the t-shirt. And I was like, dang it.
She's like, I'll just get swept and go get my medal.
I get swept. It'll be fine.
Too funny. They also, once you picked up your bib, they had like rare characters in that room. There was like 7 for the 5K, and then there was Olaf when I was there in the afternoon. But once you come out of that building, there was a crystal carriage, y'all.
I did see it. I had to go home and pick the girls up from school, and I was like, I'm missing it. With like the footmen and like both of them. And I was like, wow.
Yeah, there was a crystal. I mean, like dreams.
It was perfect.
It was great. They had Sebastian. Sebastian was in there whenever I was in there to pick up the bibs. Was he in there when you guys were there? He was like the rare character.
Yeah, I heard he was there, but I didn't get to see him because he was gone.
The line was super long, and Lucy and I were like, we're starving. Let's wrap it up. And left.
There is food down there. You can get food at Wide World of Sport.
You can.
There is food.
Yeah.
But it's like 3 different buildings. So if you think that you're going to go down there and just like grab your stuff, that's fine. You can go do that and you can come right back. But if you're going to like shop at the expo, get in the virtual queue in the morning and just plan to be there for a couple hours because you got to go to like 3 separate buildings before you're done like getting all of your stuff.
Yeah. You have to start in the back getting the bib, and then you move up to get your shirt. And then there's like,
and then it's the stuff that you have to pay for. But like where you go to get your shirt is all like running stuff.
So like costumes.
Like beeline through there. I'm like, I don't need anything in here. But there's like shoes and costumes. And there's like a whole Pandora situation, like in a castle. Like Lucy,
it was. I was like, oh, okay.
My 7-year-old was like, Mommy, there's a castle in here. And I was like, I know jewelry. We don't need it. Let's just keep going. Like I know, but it's very cool. And there were like other RunDisney like photo ops in. They do a really good job. I mean, it's really fun, but you can spend as little or as much time there. Absolutely, there's a lot of opportunity.
And I have done 3 different sorts of race weekends now. So I've done the Januaries, I've done Princess a couple times, and I've also done Wine and Dine. And I've done a challenge with Wine and Dine. And I will say they all work very similarly, even though the lengths. Actually, I did the Tower of Terror 10 miler when that was a thing. That was a great one. Oh my gosh, my medal has like a little elevator that'll move up and down.
That's awesome.
It's really cool. So, but like that is what you can expect with any race weekend, not just Princess. And FYI, people do dress up for every race weekend.
Every race.
Every single one.
There were people dressed up at the expo.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I was like, we haven't even started yet.
Doesn't matter. Nope. We just get into character.
Oh, yes. Yeah. But it's like a whole thing. And then after you finish, you go to the parks and you have like your medal on and all the cast members are like, congratulations, see you in the park with your medals on. It's just, I love it. I love it. I will do it every year. I don't know that I would be as bold to do those ones that happen in the summer because it's like still 90 degrees at 3 a.m. here in Florida. For some of those other ones, I was like,
I think the latest one is April.
Really?
Springtime Surprise, I think, is April, and they don't do any over the.
When's the Wine and Dine one?
November.
No, November.
It's so hot.
It's not quite 90 degrees at 3 o'clock in the morning, but it's like 85.
It's like 85.
The one time I did the January race, it was 32 when we started.
No, thank you.
It was cold.
January, cold. February, like we're starting to warm up. Like tomorrow, the high is like 87 or something. Like it's February. It's but I was saying, going back to the medals in the park, there's like a whole hashtag on Instagram. It's like hashtag Medal Monday. It's a thing. You're supposed to go into the park on Monday with your medals, and like the cast members, like they know, like there's like magic shots for it. Well, during our amazing race, I took my medal in my little backpack, and I was like, hold on, guys. Like, that's probably why we came in third. Sorry, guys. But I was like, I got to take my medal picture in front of the castle. And I didn't know he was taking a magic shot, but Donna got all of our pictures, and she was like, oh my gosh, look, it's you and Mickey and Minnie. And they were in like race outfits and sneakers. I'm printing it out and putting it in my office. It's the cutest picture. And I didn't know he was taking it.
That's adorable. But and you'll see people with like, if they do a challenge, especially.
And they have like all 5
on
their arm.
Yeah.
Armfuls.
Yeah, armfuls. And people who do the dopey, they have like 7 medals.
Right. I will say I have so much respect for them, but I truly do not know if they have like magic pillows that are inside their magical running shoes, because I'm like, physically, like, how are your feet doing like 60 miles on like one weekend? Like, it's bananas. Like, I have so much respect for them. I'm like, way to go. Way to go. I'm going to congratulate all of them every time I see them in the park too. Cause I'm like, oh,
I definitely.
I've done it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a good time.
The 5K is for everybody.
It is.
It is. It's for
like,
everybody.
Do it with friends. Do it with friends. Get a group of people and walk it. Like, seriously, it's so worth it. But get your rooms early. Get your rooms early. They sell out. Because not all of us live in Florida.
I still got a room even though I live here, but it's because I'm type A and I was nervous. When we stayed at Port Orleans, and it was literally like a left and a right, and I was like, oh, we're good. We're right here. It's fine.
And see, I was about driving in because I had been reading that there's traffic, and like I was getting really scared. So I had like text my cousin who's local, and she does these all the time. And I was like, hey, like, what time do you normally get in the park? And she lives 30 minutes north of here. She lives up in Lake Mary. And she was like, oh, you need to get there by like 3:30 or 4:30, whatever it was. And I was going to do it. And so in my type A head, I'm thinking I need to be there 30 minutes before she said to be there.
Exactly.
Right on. Like, I literally drove through and I was like, are you kidding me? Like, there was no traffic. I got right in. Like, I've never been more annoyed to not be in traffic because
you were like, dude, I needed to like justify me being up this early.
I was up so early. And I went back and looked at my text and I was like, oh, she told me not to be here for an hour. My bad. Like,
it's fine.
So nervous about it, but it was fine. It was really
yes. I think that next year, like when we do it, I will definitely show up later because I was like, oh.
Yeah,
I was the first one there. So and then Jess was the second.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I totally could have like slept in for an extra hour.
Yeah, we needed to time that better next year.
but for real, guys, I think you can tell we love it. Even if you're not like, I'm not a runner, it's okay. You don't have to be. Yeah. You can just enjoy, and it's
great.
It is.
You saw like generations of people doing it together, and it's amazing. And it's perfect. It's again the Disney difference. It is perfect for people with disabilities. It is. It was just. It's empowering, and I love it.
Yeah, it is. So, well, let's. If you guys want to see pictures from the race weekend, definitely go stalk these ladies on social media. So let's just kind of shout out, where can they find you, Jess?
On Instagram, I am at Little Levine Ladies. And then I'm also on Facebook, Jessica L. Upon a Star Travel and Concierge. And then you can email me at jessicaL@uponastartravel.com.
Awesome. How about you, Heather?
You can find me on Instagram and Facebook. I can't talk today. At the Moana Mom. And then if you want to email me, it's heather@uponastartravel.com.
And you can find me at Upon a Star Jen, or email me, jen@uponastartravel.com. And of course, follow Upon a Star Travel, out Upon a Star Travel everywhere. And we would love to help you. You ready for a race weekend? We are ready. And we might be there with you. I mean, you never know. That's a possibility. So for all of us at Upon a Star Travel, thank you so much for tuning in. There is a whole new world of travel to discover, a whole new world of races too. So we'll see you real soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.